Welcome to Anti-Woke and Autistic. So here we have a TikTok wannabe fat acceptance influencer. She goes by the handle of Life Looks Differ. Take a look at this. She says she's living her best life. Well, she's doing a poor example of showing it or demonstrating it. That's her best life, is doing a warm-up to a warm-up to a warm-up. That's what that looks like. A warm-up to a warm-up to a warm-up. That's all she could do? Actually, that's not all she could do. I did see a video of her doing something else that's just a little bit, maybe one or two notches above that. She says she's living her life, her best life, with her big body, in her big body, in. All right, there we go again. In, no. She's living her best life fat, not she's living her best life in a body. She didn't step into that body when she woke up that morning and zip it up and then she takes it off at night and gets out of it. That is her. She is her body. Her body is herself. And then what really gets that is she says, while all of you out there are torturing yourself for a number. Wow, what a loaded statement here. There are so many layers for how wrong it is. I don't even know where to start. Torturing. Okay, first of all, she probably thinks that a 4-mile-an-hour jog for 5 minutes is torture. She probably thinks that doing, let's say, chest presses with dumbbells that are light enough to do 18 or 20 repetitions is torture. She probably thinks walking a mile at 2.5 miles an hour is torture. She probably thinks, I don't know, pedaling an elliptical machine for 20 minutes at a medium pace, medium tension is torture. She probably thinks going up and down a few flights of stairs is torture, or sitting up and down 20 times in a row from a chair. Apparently, that's her idea of exercise, and that's her idea of living her best life. Wow, if that's all she could do, in my opinion, that's crippled. That's disability. If that were all I could do, if I were fat, I would consider myself on the disabled list. I would consider myself incapacitated. I would consider myself to have mobility impairment if that was all I could do. She's trying to make herself feel better by convincing herself that anybody who works out harder than her is torturing themselves, or anybody whose workouts have resulted in weight loss or a slender, trim, or medium-sized body or non-overweight body. She's convinced herself that anybody who's accomplished that must have tortured themselves. This way she gets herself off the hook from torturing herself, and therefore it's not as difficult to join the fat acceptance cult. This is Psychology 101. A good hard workout mellows people out. It chills them, meaning mellows them out, makes them feel calmed. It's a great thing to do after a tough day at the workplace. It's a de-stressor. The gym, a hard workout, is an antidepressant. Millions of people who torture themselves will tell you that it's better than drugs for their depression. It helps with their anxiety. I know an autistic man who works out on a treadmill for 45 minutes. To this woman, that's torture. But he told me that his 45-minute treadmill sessions are one big stim. Yes, working out on a treadmill is a stim, a prolonged 45-minute stim. This woman here has a lot of nerve implicating that something like that would be torture, running on a treadmill for 45 minutes. This woman here looks like she can't run at all. She has so much excess visceral fat that if she were to run, she'd probably fall flat on her face because the size of her stomach would force her to just keel right over. We're not torturing ourselves for a number, those of us who are passionate about physical fitness and recognize all the values that physical fitness and workouts bring to the human body. No, we don't do it for a number. Some people do it for a number. Okay, I admit there are some people who do it for a number, but the vast majority of people who exercise and work out and eat healthfully and work on weight management are doing it for far more than a number. They're doing it to live a long life, to age gracefully instead of painfully, to minimize the odds they'll one day have to use a cane or a walker or develop some immobilizing, impairing condition such as osteoarthritis of the knees or osteoarthritis of the hip joint or bad shoulders, a bad back, a lower back that gives out on them easily. They want to live long enough not just to see their grandkids get married, but to get on the dance floor with their grandkids. They're doing it so that when they're 40, they compare themselves to 25-year-olds because they're so physically fit and energetic and strong. When they're 50, they compare themselves to 30-year-olds. When they're 60, they compare themselves to 30-year-olds. Get the picture? Imagine what kind of shape this woman will be in when she's, well, you know something? She kind of looks like she's, just judging by her face, she looks like she's maybe 40 or 35, but she could be 27 or 28 for all we know. She could be 45. I mean, sometimes all that fat delays development of visible wrinkles, but that's no reason to stay fat. But just going by her looks, she's probably in her mid 30s. What kind of condition will she be in 10 years from now? Okay, let's put it this way. No matter what age she is now, what kind of condition will she be in 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now? Will her calendar be filled with fun activities, social events, things like that, hikes, trips to the museum, and all sorts of stuff? Or will her calendar be filled with doctor's appointments? Will she be making trips to the drugstore to buy another bouncy ball to play with her grandkids with? Or will she be making trips to the drugstore to get a prescription refilled and to buy a new cane 20 or 25 years from now? What will this woman be taking two at a time 15 years from now? Pills or stairs? Hey, I bet she can't even take stairs two at a time now. In fact, it's not even a bet. It's a guarantee. There's no way this woman could take stairs two at a time. Now, fat acceptance people might be thinking, well, so what? She can't take 2 steps at a time. That doesn't mean she's not healthy. Actually, it does. What if she had to dash up the stairs? Anybody who cannot take 2 stairs at a time, that is a marker for their physical fitness. If you can't take 2 steps at a time in an effective manner, it's predictive of how poor your physical fitness is in other areas. Now, this doesn't include people with injuries or who are recovering from injuries or who might have a permanent problem with one of their knees or hips from an injury, a car accident, a sporting accident. I'm talking about people who have never been injured or born with a problem, and they just have difficulty getting upstairs simply because they're huge. They have this humongous belly hanging out in front of them. Yes, if you can't take stairs two at a time, you're not living your best life because that means you are so limited in so many other things. If you can't take stairs two at a time, that means you could barely hike 100 yards. Oh, unless it's maybe a smooth downhill course. Anyways, this woman thinks that all the physically fit, normal, healthy weight people out there who eat lots of healthy foods and limit their consumption of ultra processed foods are torturing themselves. Well, yeah, I'm going to be sarcastic here. I really torture myself when I put down that big ass barbell and the guys at the gym are staring, thinking, wow, that woman is strong as fuck. I'm really torturing myself when I know that I'm strong enough to pick a woman up off the floor who just fainted and place her on a couch without throwing out my back. Yes, I really torture myself at the gym knowing that it enables me to do things without requiring a second person to help me or without having to ask a man to do it for me. I wonder how many things this woman asks men to do for her. How many things? Oh, would you help me carry this? Oh, will you lift this for me? Oh, will you unscrew this jar lid? Oh, will you pick this up for me? Oh, will you put this up on the shelf for me? It's too heavy. Yeah, I can see her doing all that. Yeah, I can see her carrying on like that. Me? I never have to ask a man to help me carry or lift things or move things around. If I need somebody to help me with anything like that, that means it's a two-person job. So if she thinks that's torture, well, that's her problem. If she thinks all the people out there who can run faster than her, jump and leap circles around her, are torturing themselves to get that way, well, again, that's her problem. She has what's called fat acceptance disorder. Remember that. FAD. F-A-D. Fat acceptance disorder. That is my video for today. Have a sensational day.